Salam alaikum and welcome to the 7th edition of Football Focus UAE. Today we're here at the Emirates Club Ras Al Khaimah. We'll be focusing on the league games that have just taken place and predictions for next week's games. We've also got an interview with David Mariani from Ittihad Kelba. Over to the show.
Okay, welcome everybody to the show again. This is episode number 7. Thanks Ian for the introduction. Welcome Robert to the show. My name's Tony, as you already know, because this is episode number 7. So without further ado, I think we should get straight into the games. And the first game we're going to look at is Al Nassr versus Fujairah. I watched this game. I didn't commentate it, but I did watch the game, and you can see the score there coming up in a second. Is Al Nassr 3, Fujairah 2. We predicted last week, didn't we, that Al Nassr would win comfortably, but at the end it became a little bit of a... It wasn't a comfortable win. Yeah. But they did, manage to just get there at the end. It was frantic at the end. Let me give you a little bit of a breakdown of what happened. Al Nassr and Fujairah were the first game to be played at the start at the Al Maktoum Stadium, the home of Al Nassr, at 6 o'clock. The Blues, as their names, were tied 17 points with second place Al Jazeera on goal difference. But you think of their results, they've been a little bit inconsistent. Yeah. They started, they
started really well.
They're not losing.
Yeah.
They're just a little bit inconsistent when I looked at it. And they, after losing to Sharjah, then beating Banyas, and then they had a draw with Kalba, who as a team at the moment. On the other hand, Fujairah claimed their first win of the season over Hatta before losing to Al Wasl and Al Jazeera with the same scoreline of 3-0. So they weren't going into this game with a lot of confidence, and they're in 12th position, so they're just bordering the relegation zone. The Serbian coach Goran, who came from Korfakan, he's stressed in his press conference on the difficulty of facing Al Nassr. Again, Ian brought it out the other week. They are the meanest defence in the league at the moment. And he said, Goran, he actually thinks that Al Nassr are one of the favourites for the league. And he said, despite their good standings, despite their 12th position standing, they're putting in some good performances. And I have to agree, Fujairah are not playing bad. No. Yeah. They're just not getting the results that they want. And a lot of it's down. Goran said that the problem in the press conference, he said the problem is they're playing well, but they're making, he called them silly mistakes. I call them schoolboy errors. Errors. They really are schoolboy errors, the mistakes. And he said if we can avoid them, we can do better, because they are an offensive team. They do try to go out and win. They don't park the bus and hopefully nick them 1-0.
We mentioned that, didn't we, last week? Because I watched them last week, and we saw how they were trying to play the ball out the back. They were trying to move the ball quickly. But it was those couple of little silly mistakes that he's mentioned, that you mentioned there, that created goals for the opposition. So if they can eradicate them, they play good football.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what he said in his actual press conference. But I have to say, watching the game, guys, 3-2, it was a cracking game. It really was. I keep saying that, but it was. It all started with a goal from Habib Al-Fardan on the 14th minute, across from the right ring. Habib hit it first time. It was lucky because it deflected off the player, sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, and it went in the bottom left corner. Nothing much happened after that, and then on the 43rd minute, a lovely bit of interplay with Khamis Taglabu, is that how you say his name?
Taglabu.
And Mendes from the left wing, and just before the half-time break, Fujairah got back into the game with an important goal. A set play, a beautiful free kick. This guy, have you seen him, Ben Larbi?
Ben Larbi, yeah.
He's got a beautiful left foot. He swings them in lovely. And Mohammed Mustafa, the Iraqi player, who just had a simple header, he couldn't miss. Yeah. However, 2 minutes later, Muhammad Ali Ayed, the centre half, restored that 2-goal cushion for Al Nassr from a corner, and obviously it was a set play. It was a lovely flick on and he headed it in. Then Fixtures got themselves back into the game for the second time with the best goal of the game in the 72nd minute. The Swedish player, Samuel Armenteros, received the ball in the 18-yard line. He jinked past two players, he got really quick feet, and side-footed the goal into the net. It was ruled offside.
Yeah.
When the VAR had a look at it, it was clearly onside, and rightly so. Game on. And then Nasser, I've got to say, for the first time they looked a bit shaky, nervous. They weren't that old Nasser passing the ball about that strong defence, and Fixtures, they actually got a goal. It should have been 3-0. I've got it here. It said that Labi put a cross in from a free kick. Hamdan Musa headed the ball towards a goal, but it was a really tame header.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper caught it, but it looked, I don't know, 50-50, and then what was his name? Mufta. He headed it out of his hands.
Yeah, it looked like he dropped it out of his hands.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen them given.
It could have gone either way, couldn't it?
I really have seen them given, but I've also seen them not given.
Yeah.
And it was, you could see it was a squeaky bum time, if you don't mind me saying that. It really was. But the VAR ruled it as a foul.
I think
and Nasser went on to
it would have been a
free
big call for the referee to make, wouldn't it? And I think he probably just on the side of caution there and thought, we'll leave it as it is.
You know what? When I watched, I thought he's not going to give it.
No.
I really did.
I was hoping he would give it because
they deserved it in that last.
Yeah, he caught the ball and he
just kind of slipped out of his hand, and he just gone in there.
It was just
falling.
He dropped it onto his head. It wasn't the player. He didn't have a good grip of the ball.
No, I agree. All right, so that was that game, and if you get a chance to watch, you can see the highlights. Watch it. So it was a really, really good game. I really enjoyed it. Now we're going to move on to Al Ain versus Ajman. I was a commentator in that game, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. I nearly fell asleep. Okay, it was absolutely, it was rubbish. I mean, the passing. We're saying with some of the games, was it Al Wasl? You've got it, Sharjah. Some of the passing was abysmal.
Yep.
They just kept giving the ball away. There were no real chances. Al Ain faced Ajman at the Bin Zayed Stadium. I have to say it's a fantastic stadium. Abu Dhabi and Al Jazeera. Bin Zayed Stadium. It reminds me a bit of Chelsea. And this was a repeat match of the President's Cup. And Ajman won. They knocked out Al Ain in the President's Cup. So you could say it was a bit of a revenge match for Al Ain. So I really expected them to do the business. But you know what? They were missing Laba, top goal scorer. I mean, he would goal the game last season.
Yeah.
Amouj, their playmaker, we know how good he is, and Omar Abdul Rahman, all missing, out injured, and you could see that. And I have to say, I'm really, really disappointed with Al Ain. They were poor. They were poor in defence, they were poor in midfield, they were poor up front. They brought in the striker Wilson. He plays along with Laba. But he's not a prolific goal scorer. If you look through his history of other clubs, he'll get you goals, but he won't get you 20 a season.
Yeah.
And he had 3 really, really good chances. The one he should have scored, the goalkeeper pulled out an amazing save. You'll see it in the highlights.
Yeah.
He heads it, and the goalkeeper spreads, and I know Ian's a goalkeeper, like you're supposed to do, and it hit him in the face.
So I mean, very sort of Peter Schmeichel-esque.
It really was. It was like that, and bumped in his face, and that was a goal. The other 2 chances, he just hit it straight at the goalkeeper, as you can hear in my highlights, in my commentating. And the other good chance, he hit it wide. You know what? That's all I'm going to really say about Al Ain. But I will mention that the Ajman, I predicted this guy's going to go next, but we've had another manager gone, which we're going to let the person who's talking about that game. Arman Al-Ramadi. I think he's the next coach to go, because Ajman are abysmal. Yeah. They are poor. They didn't play too bad. They cancelled each other out with they had the same formation, 4-5-1, and you could see it wasn't working. Tactically in the second half, Al Ain were better. It got a little bit more interesting, but again, Wilson was just he just didn't have his shooting boots on. Again, Trawali, he was the best player for Ajman. He's a good loan signing from Shabab.
Yeah.
is it Shabab from Saudi
Saudi
Arabia?
yeah.
But you could see clearly they missed their 3 key players, and it's been a big blow for Ali. And I'm interested to see how they do if they get anybody back next week. All right, let's move on. I think we're off to Ian. Now he's going to.
Yep, we're off to Sharjah versus Al Wasl.
The game.
A big game, but it wasn't.
We can see it on Instagram. Ian put it down as the game of the week 9.
But it was a strange game. Really was a strange game. There was, as we mentioned in the previous game, there was lots of missed passes, some rash tackles flying in.
And these are the 2 top teams at the league.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected. It was a bizarre game from start to finish. Moments of the game were absolutely superb. It was almost that someone switched on the light switch and suddenly Sharjah could play. They got the ball down, they moved the ball quickly, there was really quick transitions from the goalkeeper through the defence to the midfield to the attacks. And then suddenly the light switch went off again and they couldn't pass it more than 10 yards.
Yeah.
And Al Wasl were exactly the same. It was a strange game from start to finish. And I just wanted to look back at sort of head-to-heads in the last 4 games. Al Wasl have had 3 wins and 1 draw against Sharjah. So going into this, they think, reasonably confident. Could we get the points here? Could we do something that no one else has done this season? But they weren't able to, and the difference was Wellington. 2 goals, 3 shots on target.
The first goal was lovely.
Yeah. He just seems to get better and better with age.
But Ian, you're the goalkeeper. I'm right in the right game. The goalkeeper position was horrendous for that Wellington first goal.
It wasn't great. I think
he left a massive angle to his right.
Yeah,
his angles were terrible.
I think he took the shot on so quickly. I think maybe the keeper thought he was going to take one more touch, and he didn't, and just hit it with a very low backlift, and he was caught unawares. But you're right, his positioning wasn't great, but he seems to be getting better with age, Wellington. I think he's 32 now, but his strength, his speed, his pace, and his eye for goal at the moment is deadly. But one thing I would want to say, his desire. He wants to score goals. He chases down these long balls that other people wouldn't do. He really is on form. He scored 9 in 9 now, and he scored 50 goals in 75 games in the Pro League. So that's prolific stuff.
That's fantastic.
And he doesn't show any signs of slowing down at all.
It's good to see it, and Sharjah need that as well.
Yeah,
they do.
If they lose Wellington, they're going to be struggling.
Yeah, like I said at the start, it was a really, really tight game, but Sharjah edged it. They deserve the 3 points. They've not played well in the last 2-3 games. This was a slight improvement.
Too many draws, the draw specialists.
That's it. Yeah.
This win will do them good.
They needed it. They needed to play a bit better. They did at times, but there's still room for improvement. But 3 points, and they stay top, which is good.
Okay, good. What's the next game, Ian?
Next game, Shabab Al Ahly versus Al Dhafra.
Well, we've got some interesting news from Shabab Al Ahly. What happened there?
Well, I'm going to hand it over to Robert because he's the,
this is the Shabab Al Ahly. All know that,
so.
Robert. We mention it every week. Robert, what's going on there? What the hell?
Well, I don't know if you guys have been catching up with the Instagram and been following. There's a huge backlash over the coach, the management at the moment.
Well, didn't they bring this new manager in?
The fans don't seem to be happy. I'd go as far as to say the fans aren't happy, and neither are the players, because but as a player, how do you protest? You can't do it outwardly, you can't do it publicly. So what do? You lose a game to the worst team in the league.
Well, we're going to see how they play the first game. We'll talk about that on Wednesday, but we'll see what they do, Robert.
Yeah,
we're going to get your prediction on that, of course. But we'll come back to that.
It's going to be. I mean,
what's his history? Do you know anything about this manager? Is he Emirati?
I think he's a local, isn't he? He's local. And he's been brought up into the team. He used to manage the youth team and the under-21s, and now he's there. He's managing he's down as the tactical manager. That's his official title, as tactical manager. But he just doesn't seem to be doing he's got the wrong players on at the moment. Now, I mean, from what I see as a fan myself.
Did you see this coming? I didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming at all.
I predicted this Iceman coach to be the next casualty.
Gerard's. He came with a mission. He came with, he came with a mission to say, right, I'm going to take the team, turn it around. I'm going to change this and believe in the mission. Believe that we're going to do okay.
But I've got to say, Robert, they haven't.
Yeah, it's been cut
I
short.
said Sharjah with the draw specialist, Shabab Al Ahly out there.
Shabab Al Ahly, I mean, they went
Really-
from top flight, should have won last year.
To favourites to win this season, to
famous,
mid-table.
yeah.
They've
I mean-
drawn 5 games so far this season.
Yeah, they've drawn
They've
special.
only lost 1, but they've drawn 5 games, and that dictates where they are on the table. Looking at the game against Al Dhafra, we know Al Dhafra are one of the weaker teams in the league, and to be honest, they were unlucky not to get 3 points. They came across Al Sanana, the goalkeeper from Al Dhafra, and he was in inspired form, pulled off sort of 4 or 5 really, really good saves. And if it wasn't for him, they would have won the game. They did dominate, but
He's definitely played the match, the keeper.
but like I said, without him, that they would have won probably 2 or 3-0. So, they were moving in the right direction. Possession-wise, they had all the possessions, 76%. They had over 660 passes compared to Al Dhafra's 202. So Al Dhafra were never in the game. Having said that, Al Dhafra did manage 8 shots, but didn't really create any clear-cut chances.
But what was the game like, Ian? Was it an Ajman Alain? Ajman?
No, it was a bit more entertaining, but Shabab need to do more with their possession. They're 76%, 600 odd passes. It's that final third that they're not creating the clear-cut chances and putting the ball away, and that's why they've drawn 5 games.
5 games, yeah.
But-
As like I said, as a fan, Heldon. Sorry to say, I know some people like him. I know some of you guys actually like him. I think he's not producing. He's not the man that should be on the team.
I think we need to give him a bit more time. Let's see what he can do.
Oh, I don't. I mean,
We've got the first game coming up. We'll see how he does.
still,
I think.
and
Let's give the guy a chance. Robert.
I know. I mean,
you
need to give
Shabab
him-
Al Ahly
I
fans
don't
are really
know.
tough, yeah. Goodness me. Yeah.
Well, no, that's wrong. I mean, like I said, I think it's also a lack of confidence in the new coach. I think that's why. And then you bring in Heldon on, and then I think Igor Jesus just needs a good feeder, and I think that's what's missing right now.
We'll see. We'll give him time. Okay, Ian.
Give him time.
But I think on another day, Shabab could have taken the 3 points. They came against a very good goalkeeper in form, so they're unlucky. Shabab stay in 7th, and Al Dhafra are in 10th currently.
Okay, let's move on to the Hatta game.
My final game, Hatta versus Banias.
What is he? I keep saying it. What do you call them?
The whipping boys.
Well, the whipping boys. Hatta. Goodness me, they brought in Vladimir. How's he doing?
He's trying, and the team are trying. To be fair, they're working hard for him. That they're working towards his game plan. They are trying, but they're up against it. They haven't got the quality the other teams have got. Just doing a quick head-to-head between them two. Hatta goals conceded 25, Banias 9. Shots on target, Hatta have had 25 compared to Banias' 57. League possession, Hatta 14th bottom, Banias are 5th. So that tells a big story.
Well, I'm commentating on their next game
Yeah.
at Al Dhafra.
But in the actual game head-to-head stats, it was quite interesting. The possession was very, very similar: 48 to Hatta, 52 to Banias.
I have looked at that. Then they're a good possession team.
Yeah, amount of passes, both had sort of mid to early 400s, but it was just going down to the shots. Where Hatta only managed 4 shots, where Banias
they
had
can't
20.
seem to get that forward play. To have shots on target.
Again, it's
shoot.
that I think confidence. It's the final third. The first half was quite uneventful, really. A lot of the chances came from outside the box. Neither keeper was troubled at all. Hatta are improved. They look organised. They were disciplined, and they prepared well. But it was unfortunate that it was a 15-minute spell towards the end of the game, sort of the 66th minute onwards, where Banias scored all 3 goals.
Yeah,
and it was.
I think it comes down to fitness that as well.
Could
He needs
be.
to get his team fitter. We were saying that last week, weren't we? They just physically they don't look.
Well, that first sort of 5-6 games we saw them play, they were demotivated. They were strolling around the pitch.
Crawford can 2-0 up.
Exactly. They haven't got that match fitness, and that obviously showed here in that last 15-20 minutes.
We're getting nervous in the end.
Yeah, the goals. The first 2 goals they conceded, they were unlucky. It was a counter-attack. They had the ball right in Banias's possession, in their half, and then they nicked it off and ran down the other end and scored a good goal. There was a massively deflected free kick to make it 2-0, and then at that point, you could see we were only sort of 20 minutes before the end for the 90 minutes. The heads were going down a little bit, and then they just, for the first time, actually, they switched off. A lovely flighted ball into the back post, and one of the Banias strikers was unmarked, and he just headed it in. So there certainly are signs of improvement for them.
But I think it's too late.
It's too little, too much. You know, really, this manager should have been at the start. He could have maybe sort of put his stamp on it then.
Yeah.
But they are trying. They've got to pick up points. They've got to pick up points straight away. But you know, the next 3 games are Sharjah, Calba, and Al-Ain. So it's going to be very, very tough for them.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they get a point out of any of those 3. And if that's the case, you know, we're about halfway now, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, if they lose all those 3,
Yeah,
that's going to be it.
next week's a halfway stage into this week.
Yeah.
All right. Is that Ian finished, or you got one more?
No, that's
Ian?
me. Good.
Al Jazeera versus Al Wada, the derby,
The local derby.
the local derby. I honestly thought the game was okay. Not really much to report about. You know, it was Al Jazeera, top of the table. You know, they're really going out there. They had no intention of slowing down. They came out with a game plan. Yeah, it's your team. It's your favourite to win. They came out to do the business. They came out. They did the business. You know, they've won the last 3 matches. This is, you know, this time they were down at the Mohammed bin Zayed Stadium.
Robert was saying, recent local derbies, Ian and I, there's just not that passion and, you know, that let's get in there.
Yeah.
This is you know, like Liverpool, Manchester United, Everton versus Liverpool. There's just not that.
There's no
I was
passion.
saying maybe it's because of the no crowds. What is it? Robert, what's
it-
your view on that? Ian
mean-
and I, you saw this local derby.
Yeah, I mean,
Did it have that?
it didn't. The players seemed to. It seemed like it was more of a training session, a really heavy training session. It didn't seem that both teams were passionate enough to say, right, we're gonna go out there. I mean, it was quite heavily
It went
one
what
Al
everybody
Jazeera.
predicted. That's
Yeah.
disappointing because derbies don't normally do that.
No, there was no. There was they just Al Wada didn't just. They just didn't seem to have that passion. They just didn't have the fuel in the team. They just kind of went, well, we're up against the champions.
Maybe that
we're up against Al
brought out-
Jazeera.
Maybe it's the crowds. Maybe when
It's
the
the crowds
crowds
as
are back.
well, yeah.
Because Al Jazeera do have and Al Wada have good followings.
They've got, yeah. I mean, the crowd's loud, you know, and that's what I love about football here. It's the passion from the players,
But it's missing at the
from
moment.
the
in these
it's
local
missing
derbies.
big time.
But tell us what happened. Robert.
So you know, it's one of the more exciting games of the week. I found it. I mean, it was heavy more towards Al Jazeera, but it was a good game to watch. First goal of Khalfan Mubarak, that 30-yard mark, you know, and it bounced into the keeper. I don't, you know,
Yeah,
you
so
noticed
yeah.
It,
Keeper,
freakish.
Robert, Ian, you're the keeper. I thought that
What
kind of
happened?
fell down, didn't it? It went under.
Yeah, disappointing, wasn't it?
I mean, the commentator was nice. You know, he
He said,
bounced awkwardly. I just thought it was a bad
need to do better.
keeper.
Yeah, I mean, if it bounced in front of it and it bounced over the keeper, it kind of
It went under the guy.
it went
for crying.
under. Yeah, it bounced under him. So that just means the keeper's too late. Am I right, Ian?
Yes, yeah, his position was a bit off. He's probably caught a little bit unawares and just didn't quite get his dive down in time. Yes,
Yeah,
definite keeper error.
That was a definite kill, right? Because I was thinking that. I thought.
So, what about the other goal?
And then the second goal there, you're looking at, straight, anyone, myself, you, even Ian, if Ian was in goal, kicks the ball straight through to Ali Mahmoud, you know what's going to happen. You know, that's
that was
his,
a lovely ball.
he could do it with his eyes
His
shut.
step over was excellent. To go
His
around the
step-
goalkeeper.
You know, it's Ali Mahmoud, one of the best players in the league. Like I said, any through
Top
ball
goal
from
scorer for the
anyone.
international team. And
You know,
he took it well, didn't he?
Oh, he took it well. I mean, he could almost put it down as a set piece. You know, it's predictable. Through ball, Ali Mahmoud,
That's how
turn
he
away.
likes it.
It's a goal. You know, it's very rare that it's not a
9
goal.
times out of 10.
Nine
Did well,
times.
didn't he? He still had quite a lot to do. Even though he took around the keeper, still those 2 defenders coming back, and he had to
Sailed it
compose
past the
himself
2
and just
defenders.
slipped it through. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's very good.
I mean, like I said, it was well rehearsed, if anything. It was almost pantomime-like. The rest of the match saw Al Wada. They tested the Al Jazeera keeper in the second half, but the first half they just seemed very depleted, and then towards the back end, it just seemed like they were demotivated. They just kind of accepted that.
We're
You
going to
know,
lose. Yeah, disappointing. But anyway, thanks for that, Robert.
Yep.
Korfakan versus Kalba. I mean, Kalba, we've said, are the surprise package of the season.
Kalba, Korfakan Kalba.
What happened there? Because, I mean, were they 2-0 up or something?
No, it was. Korfakan got the first goal. The second goal wasn't allowed. It was offside. But I mean,
saw that.
it didn't look like it was offside. But VAR.
But what a comeback from Kalba.
Well, comeback from Kalba. I didn't didn't see that coming back from. Normally, when you get to that point, traditionally in the league, you see a lot of the teams and a lot of the players kind of demotivated and very like start heads down, and it's
Well, tell us
like,
what happened. What happened? Rob?
So it was very sketchy, and it was a sloppy game, if anything, if that's the right word to use.
Game
right
of
term.
lots of mistakes.
Lots of mistakes. It was six form football at its best, especially in the first half. A lot of foul play from both teams, and it seemed to be that the players had a grudge against each other rather than focus on putting the ball behind the net. It was a case of let's just injure the other team, which then resulted in 2 red cards, one from each team, which then brought the players down a level 10 aside, which.
But it must have been a good game, 3-2.
It was a good game.
It was full of everything, weren't it? Goals, sending offs, fouls. It was like almost like
it was a 1980s football. Yeah, it's a local
for Camden in the
it was
neck of the woods.
Yeah, it was like a local derby because, like I said, the passion was there on the pitch, player against player. And it wasn't a case of let's just get as many goals as we can. It was more, we hate you. They don't hate each other, but it seemed
like a derby,
like a proper derby. Yeah, and it was a few close calls and a few great shots on target from both teams. Kofkan got the first goal. That was a cross.
Did they go 2-0 up?
I don't remember. Did they? Well, Kofkan got. They went 1 up. Raman Defitis. He got the first goal. Then then not much happened after that. And then in the second half, that's when you had Periel Malapa. Bale Malapa. Yeah, Malapa doing the business.
Great header, wasn't it?
Is it? Well, it just came to him. It was like it was magnetised. It came to him, straight to him, and he didn't even have to jump. He just kind of
headed it in, didn't he?
Yeah, headed it in. It wasn't even a head. It was like a glancing. Just kind of saw the ball coming. Just turned his head and looked to the goal, straight into the back of the net. That was a great goal. Probably the goal of, then, yeah. That was then it was brought it up to 1-1. I think that was probably for me. That was the goal. That was the goal of the game. And then the second one came down from. It's from David Mariani. Again, it was just he was just there in the right place. Ball comes over, he gets the ball, taps it, moves it with his right foot, and just turns around, drops shoulder, turns, left foot straight to the back of the net. The keeper couldn't save it. The keeper couldn't see it because it was.
So Calber went 2-1 up.
So Calber went 2-1 up at this point, and that was the end. That was all it wrote. That was all that was wrote. And then after that, it was just a case of Korfakan didn't want to play anymore. It was the energy was gone, everything was depleted. It just seemed like we run out of batteries, and it was a case of let's not let any more goals go in. Instead of coming back on a counter, they just accepted that they were losing.
Yeah, but again, a good win for Calber, who were their team at the moment.
Good win for Calber. Shocking. Didn't expect it at all. Not this season. But it's a freaky football season this season. They're now back in sixth place, I think.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
And Korfakan just after that second goal from David Mariani, they were quite happy staying at the bottom.
He's been a solid player. Ian calls him in our Instagram the mailman. He always delivers. And we've got some interesting news for our next show. Ian, if you'd like to mention
we can, as we just spoke to him there. Yeah, this week we're going down to Dubai to interview David. So he's going to be our first professional footballer on the show. So we're looking forward to that and finding out all about him and his journey to the UAE and how he's finding it. So that's going to be, very interesting. So make sure you watch out for that one.
Yeah, watch out for that one. Yeah, thank you. So we're just going to do some quick predictions for next week, which will be. We'll start off with Ian. Asking Ian, predictions: Al Wasl versus Al Jazeera. Al Wasl have had a tough couple of games. What do you think?
They have.
Al Jazeera, my team.
Al Jazeera on your team. They're playing some very, very good football. You'd be mad to bet against Al Jazeera, and it will be an Al Jazeera win, 2-0.
Yeah, and which Al Wasl team are going to turn up?
That's the thing. You just never quite know. But I think even if the best Al Wasl team turn up, Al Jazeera will just probably have a little bit too much for them.
Next one, Ian. Calber versus Al Wahda. Calber, the informed team, they're at home.
Yep.
We've got David Mariani, the man in form at the
Yeah,
moment.
so
the
obviously
mailman.
we can't go against them, can we? So I think Calber are playing well. Al-Wadda, again, we're not sure what the team's going to turn up on the day.
Yeah.
I think it would be a tight game, but let's say Calber will just edge it, maybe 1-0.
I'd go for that. Last one, Ian. Fujairah versus Ian Roberts' team, Shabab Al Ahly, who got a new manager. Remember, this is their first game. What do you think?
Well,
Fujairah.
surely it has to be a draw if it's Shabab Al Ahly, but let's hope for something else.
Fujairah are the whipping boys.
So new manager in, you hope that sort of ignites a spark, hopes the team gets playing. Fujairah, we've mentioned before, trying to play good football.
They are.
It could go either way. I'm going to sit on the fence and say possibly a draw.
Yeah, I would go with that. But you never know. All right, let's go on to Robert. Robert's predictions.
So
Al Nassr versus Al Ain.
Yeah, I've got Al Nassr versus Al Ain.
This is top of the table. You could almost say clash.
I mean, if you asked me this question last year, I'd say Al Ain 5-1. Straight away. Al Nassr.
Al Nassr, meanest defence in the league.
Exactly.
Give us your prediction, Robert.
Depends on who's playing for Al Ain as well.
I think some of their big players are back.
If they got a full squad, I think Al Ain would be okay. Al Nassr, like I said, it's the meanest defence. They're impenetrable. So I'd go for a 1-1.
1-1.
Okay. 1-0 draw.
Ajman. I mean, they're playing horrendous football versus Corfacan. This is a relegation 6-pointer. What are you going for?
Judging by Corfacan's game, most recent game, if Corfacan score early in the first half, I think they'll be okay.
Give me a score then.
It's Ajman. I'm probably going to go for a 2-0.
To Corfacan.
2-0. Maybe I'll go as far as pushing it to 3-0.
All right.
To Corfacan, because I've seen Ajman play recently, and I'm guessing it's Corfacan. They're
horrendous. Well, look at my predictions,
What's your
guys.
predictions?
I've got Al Dhafra versus Hatta. I'm going for an Al Dhafra win. They're at home.
Yeah.
They're only a mid-table team, but Hatta, they're playing football well, but they can't score for toffee. and I'm going to end up saying that in my commentary.
So what are you going to predict?
I'm going for Al Dhafra 2-0.
Okay.
2-0, 2-1. Okay. Banyas versus Sharjah. I mean, that's the game of week 10. That is going to be a cracking game. Banyas are back on form. They're on fire. Jal Pedro scoring again. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Because Sharjah, he's in cracking form as well. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 there. All right, thank you, guys. Let's look at the tables. You've got your tables with you guys on your phones here. Bear with me. So let's first of all look at top of the table. Sharjah in first position on 23, Al Jazeera on 23, Al Nassr third on 20, Banyas shooting up there in fourth, Al Ain in fifth. Now I know Sharjah on top, even though Al Jazeera should be because of goal difference.
Yeah.
But apparently the league, the ruling is
Games against, isn't it?
games against. So Sharjah have got better games
Slightly
against
different,
than Al Jazeera. So they're still top of the table. Al Nassr are down, but Al Jazeera, my team, are coming up, guys. You should have listened to me.
Yep, slow and steady they are.
Saying that, Sharjah, your team, I mean, where's your team? Oh, Robert, ninth. Goodness me, that's horrendous, yeah?
I know.
This is a team that was leading the league, the team favourites to win. I don't want to say any more, Robert, because I know you're depressed about it.
I know.
Okay, but let's move on. I mean, I'll whistle down there. Let's look at the relegation, guys. We've got Corfacan 11th, Fujairah 12th, Ajman 13th, and Hatta 14th. And there's only, Hatta on 1 point. Ajman, you can see all this, by the way, on 3 points. Fujairah on 7, Corfacan 8. Who's your predictions? I've said Hatta and Ajman all along.
Yeah, mine is exactly the same. Hatta have got far too much to do. Ashman, they've got Tawali up front, who looks a decent player, but he's pretty much on his own. Fujairah are trying to play some decent football. Corfacan at times, you've just said it, look dangerous. So I think those two will be okay. It's Hatta and Ashman, unfortunately.
Yeah, same here.
You'd be a brave man to say any other team are going down.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it's not. It's definitely hard to imagine.
Yeah, it's got to be, because you look at they've got to win 2 or 3 games just to get near the other 2.
Yeah,
And we've just said, haven't we, they've got Calber, who have they got? Calber, Alain, and Sharjah out of their next 3 games. There's no points there.
Game of. I'm commentating their next game is Al Dhafra, which we'll talk about. But the surprise package still up there, Calber number 6. Don't forget, we got our interview on our next show with David Mariani, doing really well. All right, so I don't think there's anything else to say.
No.
Robert, Ian, thanks a lot. Really appreciate your company, and please watch our show. Don't forget, Robert, what they need to do.
Yep, make sure you ring the bell. Make sure you subscribe.
And finally, to finish off, don't forget we got our interview, and now with COVID, I won't say coming to an end, but we can see light at the end of the tunnel. We're hoping to go to some different stadiums in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, meet some players, do some interviews, and get their thoughts on the UAE, COVID-19, how they feel about playing football in the Middle East. So we've got some really good stuff coming up. So please bear with us. We're getting better, and we'll get there in the end. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks you again.
Thanks for watching.
And don't forget to forget our cameraman, Gavel. He does a great job. All right, Gavel, you don't see his face, but I'm sure one day you will. All right, thanks.
Wassalam.
Okay, thank you.
Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about the history of Calber. Al Ittihad Calber was established when 2 teams, which was the Al Shabab and Al Ruba, they merged together with Al Riyada back in 1972 and created this new team, Al Ittihad Calber. Al Ittihad Calber is managed by Uruguayan Jorge de Silva, who's got over 20 years of managing in South America and in the GCC, and he even managed Banias back in 2013. Calber Club, they played at the Calber Club Stadium, and that has about 6,000 capacity, probably similar to what they've got here at the Emirates. And at the moment now, they're sitting comfortably in 6th place with 5 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. My predictions is they've probably got the potential to become one of the top 4 contenders for this season, and they're making some waves. They're making some waves right now. So there are a lot of things to look out for. A lot to look out for with this team.